Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about organize versus gather in the objective personality system. This is a complete bait and switch. Actually, this video is going to be about just looking at consume sleep versus sleep consume. And it's still going to be about that because really, if you want to understand organize versus gather, let's look at two types that are almost exactly the same. The only difference is OE, gather, versus OI. So that's the difference between consume, sleep, and sleep consume. And yeah, having an energy animal versus info animal, we'll get into that another time. So quick refresher of what is OI. OI is like narrowing down, building. It's starting with a vision, an understanding, some kind of projection, a process, and you have two types of that. You have an info side of it, which is just like you have a narrowed down process that applies, or understanding that applies to everybody, that DE applies to everybody. Or in terms of like doing or what to do, you have sleep, which is a narrowed down vision of what you care about, a way to do things, a conviction you might have. And yeah, so to OI, the gather side, they look like they're just chasing geese. You know, it's just like, oh, you're like, this thing came up and you're chasing that. That thing came up and that you're chasing that. Whereas meantime, the OI sees a seed that they're investing in for the long term, whether it's SI or NI. It's just like, they want to take advantage of, very critically, what's not going to change. You're capitalizing on what is staying the same. OE, on the other side, you're capitalizing on what's changing. Okay, technology is changing. Great. Let's get the latest technology. Oh, some kind of like the weather is changing, the culture is changing, whatever it is, nice. Let's take advantage of that. And you have two types of that. You have the info side of it, where you're just taking in things and you're making sense of it, or you're seeing whether you like it or not, and you're reacting in that way. Or you're going around, you're seeing how other people are doing things, what's hot right now, what's the opportunity, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and so to the OEs, the OI will look like, oh, you're still on that old thing. Sorry, I have like music playing in my ears because I thought it'd be a good vibe, but it's very distracting. Too much OE. So, and you guys can read this. Okay, so quick matrix. So let's look at two companies. So these are both run by Consume Sleep or Sleep Consume Saviors. Okay, and so they're going to have like this sleep building process in the long term, but they will very critically be different in this OE versus OI. Okay, so let's look at Facebook, run by Zuckerberg, and Amazon, run by Jeff Bezos. Those are both Consume Sleep, like INTP and ENTPs, versus Apple and Tesla, both run by Sleep Saviors. Okay, so I'm just going to free flow talk about this. Okay, so what Amazon and what was it, the company? Facebook, what they're taking advantage of is reacting to technology, like changing technology in the moment. So even how they run the companies, it's like, okay, release new features, kill new features if they don't work. So this kind of like test and learn, discovery bases around the company. And so Amazon will release a phone and then just like never talk about it. Oops, that didn't work. And then they'll occasionally like discover something that really works, and then they'll double down, sleep, focus on what works, and add it to the process. So just to point out the sleep, so this little like email thing from Jeff Bezos, he's famous of, it's so freaking tyrannical, I love it, is that famously, like, he has an email address that any customer can contact him, and supposedly he reads them. Don't like all the stuff that you hear that like, oh, Jeff Bezos is like really chill, like he just like, you know, putters into the office, like not true. Okay, this guy's a freaking shark. So he has this email address that it's also like Observer, like give me all the consume information, and then I'm going to hold people sleep accountable to it. So you might get so Jeff gets like a customer complaint, and then whoever's department this falls under, all your like he forwards it and sends like question mark or like what's going on, and the idea, the sleep side of it, is that you're going to come back and tell me how to fix it and how this will never go wrong again, right? That's the sleep, but it's still relying on the consume of like, okay, we're still going to react in the moment, and we're going to also acquire companies. That's part of OE, right? OE kind of believes there's good stuff out there. We just need to find it. And so both Zuckerberg and Bezos are like all-time acquirers of like really good companies. In fact, what's also interesting is that they keep the names different. Like, so like WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, kept the same name. Oculus is owned by Facebook, kept the same name. Instagram, Giphy, I didn't even know that was owned by Facebook. And then Amazon, Whole Foods, kept the same name. MGM, I didn't even know that was owned by Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. Audible is still like branded under Audible, Ring, et cetera, right? What's best that's out there? OI on the other side. So if we look at how Steve Jobs ran Apple and Elon runs Tesla, is they come with a conviction. So for Apple, it is whatever it was, that easy computing for everybody. So it's like simple OI applies to TE everybody. And that's going to be the focus. It's not going to be the latest technology. The iPhone, for example, never had like the best technology, but it was like simple to use and it was easy to use. And the idea is that you start with a conviction, and then over time, it'll pay out. The payout is going to be later. And that's exactly what happened. And then on Tesla's side, Elon had this idea like, I'm looking at the ST, my narrowed down understanding of the ST. Electric cars should be better, but they're not better. I think that I can make them better, right? So you start with that conviction, and then the process in both of these companies is that like they're not just putting stuff out and then having it fail. Like that happens rarely, but generally when they release a product, they're going to invest in it, and it's for like the long term. They're not making mistakes. They're not trying things out. They're coming with a conviction. Just like Elon like already stated, okay, the first car is going to be the Roadster, then the Model S, and then the Model X, and then and that's exactly what he did. And then what's interesting is that because there's like this sense of like demon OI, like all the companies that Apple acquires, they fall into the OI of Apple, of like whatever company turns into Apple Maps or like Touch ID or whatever it is. It falls under the umbrella of yeah. So that's just a little interesting point. And same thing with Tesla. Tesla, I know, was trying to like, anyway, because you're demon OE, like you don't believe good shit is out there. You think that your stuff is better or the way that you could do it is better. Like Tesla famously got in trouble because they started making their own seats, which are apparently notoriously different. All other auto manufacturers end up like buying their like actual car seats from another company. Anyway, very technical, yada, 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 it doesn't matter. But the point is, and I'm not gonna talk about Blast Fleet, but the key thing is that you can see that literally the orientation of how these guys kind of like ran the companies completely makes for two very different strategies. You have the sleep in both of them. It's very process oriented. Not going to make the same mistake again. Long-term focus in terms of how we do things, but one is taking advantage of how things are changing and latest technology and acquiring new companies, and the other one is taking advantage or trying to capitalize on a long-term vision. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. That is it. Hopefully not too boring.